Should you buy or rent in New York City in 2026? I mean, it's the million-dollar question, literally. And the answer could save you hundreds of thousands of dollars or cost you that much if you get it wrong. In this video, I'm breaking down the real math, the market conditions, and the personal factors you need to consider to make the smartest decision for your situation. Let's dive in. Now, as a reminder, the buy versus rent decision in New York City is unlike anywhere else in the country. We have some of the highest rents in the nation, but also some of the most expensive real estate. I know you know what I'm talking about. We have co-ops with strict board requirements, condos with massive common charges, and rent-stabilized apartments that can be amazing deals if you can find them. And in 2026's shifting interest rates, changing inventory levels, and evolving neighborhood dynamics, from Astoria to the financial district, and this decision becomes even more critical. Whether you're a young professional in your first apartment, or a growing family needing more space, or someone who's been renting for years and wondering if, it's finally time to buy and pay my own mortgage instead of my landlord's, well, this video is for you. So here's what we're going to cover today. The current state of New York City rental and housing market heading into 2026, the real financial breakdown of buying versus renting with actual numbers, the lifestyle and personal factors that should influence your decision, and how to know definitively which option is the right one for you now. Let's start with where the market stands as we head into 2026. On the rental side, New York City rents have been at or near record highs in many neighborhoods. The median rent for a one-bedroom in Manhattan hovers around $4,200 to $4,500. In Brooklyn, you're looking at $3,200 to $3,800, and in Queens, it's closer to $2,400 to $2,900, depending upon the neighborhood. And while we're seeing some inventory relief in certain areas, desirable neighborhoods, think Williamsburg, Astoria, Upper West Side, Park Slope, still have strong demand and landlords know it. On the buy side, interest rates have been fluctuating, and 2026 could bring some relief or further adjustments depending on the Fed's actions. Median home prices in New York City vary widely by borough and neighborhood. In Manhattan, you're looking at median condo prices of around 1.1 to 1.3 million. In Brooklyn, it's closer to 800 to a million for condos, and co-ops can range 400 to 800 depending upon the area. Queens offers more affordable options with a median price of 600 to 750. The Bronx and Staten Island, quite frankly, they provide even more value, but I know nothing about them, but I have partners that do. The big takeaway, both renting and buying are expensive in New York City, but the question isn't just about cost, it's about value, flexibility, and long-term wealth building. So let's break it down, shall we? All right, let's talk numbers. I'm going to walk you through a real-world scenario so you can see exactly how buying and renting compare financially. Scenario: you're looking at a two-bedroom apartment in Astoria, Queens. Renting, let's say you find a solid two-bedroom for $3,200 a month. Over the course of a year, you are paying $38,400 in rent. Over 5 years, that's $192,000. Over 10 years, nearly $400,000. And you own nothing. By the way, that doesn't even take into consideration the rent increase every year. Now, renting does come with some flexibility. You're not responsible for major repairs. You can move more easily, and you're not tied down. But financially, you are building your landlord's equity, not your own. Buying. Let's say you buy a similar two-bedroom co-op in Astoria for $650,000. You put 20% down, that's $130K. And you finance the remaining $520 at 6.5% interest rate over 30 years. Your monthly mortgage payment is about $32.85, and a monthly maintenance fees around $800. That's pretty typical for that size in that area. You're looking at about $4,085 per month in total housing costs. So at first glance, buying looks more expensive month to month, $4,085 versus $3,200 in rent. But here's what changes the game. Number one, you are building equity. Every mortgage payment you make increases your ownership stake in the property. Over 5 years, you'll pay down approximately $40,000 of your loan principal. That's $40,000 of wealth you're building. Number two, appreciation. Historically, New York City real estate appreciates over time. If that $650,000 apartment appreciates just 3% annually, which is conservative for desirable New York City neighborhoods, it'll be worth about $753,000 in 5 years. That's over $100,000 in appreciation. Number three is going to be the tax benefits. As a homeowner, you can deduct mortgage interest and property taxes on your federal return, up to certain limits, of course. Depending upon your tax bracket, That could save you thousands a year as well. Number 4, rent increases don't affect you. While renters face annual rent hikes, often 3 to 5% in New York City, your mortgage payment stays the same if you have a fixed rate loan. In 10 years, that $3,200 could easily be $4,500 or more, while your mortgage remains stable, right? The bottom line, if you plan to stay in New York City for at least 5 to 7 years, buying typically wins financially, even with higher upfront costs. You're building wealth instead of paying someone else's mortgage. I cannot stress this enough. Final things to consider, okay? Here's the thing. Buying versus renting isn't just about the math. Mostly is, but not just about the math. There are lifestyle and personal factors that matter just as much, especially in a city like New York. So factor number 1, how long do you plan to stay? If you're only going to be in New York City for 1 or 2 years, maybe you're here for a short-term job or you're just not sure about your long-term plans, renting definitely makes more sense. The transaction cost of buying, which is your closing costs, moving expenses, broker fees, and selling, broker commission, potential renovations, mean you need time for appreciation to offset those costs. But if you're planning to stay 3, 4, 5, 10 years, buying becomes far more attractive. Factor number 2, do you value flexibility? Renters have the freedom to move with relatively short notice. If your job might relocate you, or you like to explore different neighborhoods, or you're not ready to commit to one place, renting gives you that flexibility. Homeowners, on the other hand, are tied to their property. But that stability can be a huge advantage if you're ready to put down roots. 3, are you ready for the responsibilities of home ownership? When you rent, your landlord handles big repairs, building maintenance, and major issues. When you own, especially condo or co-op, right, you're responsible for repairs inside of your unit, and you'll pay monthly fees for building upkeep. Now, co-ops have stricter board requirements and approval processes. You need to be ready for that responsibility and the costs that come with it. Factor 4, what are your financial goals? If building long-term wealth and equity is a priority, buying is the clear winner. Home ownership is one of the most reliable ways of building wealth over time. But if you'd rather keep your cash liquid, invest in stocks or a business, or avoid tying up a large down payment, renting might align better with your financial strategy. Factor number 5, what does your life stage look like? Are you single and love the freedom to explore? Renting might fit your lifestyle. Are you married, thinking about starting a family, or looking for stability? Buying often makes more sense. Now, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. It depends on where you are in life. And if you want to talk it over with us, we would love to. So click in the description box below. We have a Calendly link where you can schedule a one-on-one consultation with myself and my team, because we would love to help by being your buyer's agents and being your consultant or advisor through this whole process. So now let's talk about how 2026 market conditions should factor into your decision. Interest rates. If they drop in 26, buying becomes more affordable. Lower rates means lower monthly payments, which means you can afford more home for your money. On the flip side, if rates start to rise, your buying power decreases. Though that might also mean less competition from other buyers, giving you more negotiating leverage. Inventory levels, right? If inventory increases in 26, you'll have more options as a buyer and potentially more negotiating power. If inventory stays tight, you might face bidding wars, which can drive up prices. As a renter, higher inventory means that landlords offer concessions, like a free month or reduced rent. Now, what about neighborhood trends, right? Some New York City neighborhoods are appreciating faster than others. Areas like Long Island City, Astoria, they're seeing stronger growth and development. If you buy in an up-and-coming area, you could see significant appreciation. But do your research, or just sign up for a free consultation with us, and we who specialize in New York City neighborhoods can help you identify areas with the best potential for growth. Now, the rental market dynamics. If rents continue to rise, which they have been in most desirable neighborhoods, the gap between renting and owning is definitely narrowing. At some point, paying $4,200 plus in rent makes less sense than paying a similar amount towards a mortgage, where you're building equity. The key takeaway: market conditions matter, but they shouldn't be the only factor. The best time to buy is when it makes sense for your personal finances and your life goals, not just because rates are low or inventory is high. All right, let's bring it all together, okay? Should you buy or should you rent in New York City in 2026? You should consider buying if you plan to stay in New York City for at least 4+ years, right? You have stable income and can afford the down payment and closing costs. Down payment 10 to 20%, closing costs 2 to 4, maybe a little bit higher if it's new development. Also, if you're ready for the responsibilities of home ownership, you want to build long-term equity and wealth. You're tired of rent increases and want housing payment stability. Qualify for a mortgage and can get pre-approved. You should consider renting if you're not sure how long you'll stay in New York City. You value flexibility and the ability to move easily. You're not ready for a large financial commitment, or you don't have the savings for down payment. You prefer to keep your cash liquid for other investments. You're not ready for the responsibilities of property ownership. You're still exploring neighborhoods and figuring out where you want to live long term. All right, here's the honest truth. There's no universal right answer. I mean, I do believe that everybody should be a homeowner, but I understand there are certain lifestyle things that mean you should be a renter. It depends on your financial situation, your life stage, your goals, and your priorities. But here's what I can tell you. If you're even considering buying, it is absolutely worth having a conversation with a professional who can walk you through your options, right? Help crunch the numbers for your specific situation and help you make an informed decision. Now, listen, that's exactly what we at the WeLot team would love to do. We will sit down with you, review your finances, talk about your lifestyle, and show you what's available so that we can see if your goals match where the market is at. And don't worry, we do this all the time. It's a pretty painless conversation. So again, all you have to do is click in the description box below, sign up on that Calendly link, and we cannot wait to help you out. Alternatively, you can give us a call or check us out on our website, thewelotteam.com. Okay, until next time, we at the WeLot team would love to be your global real estate team of choice. Bye, guys.